The Myrtles Plantation was built in 1796 by General David Bradford on 600 acres and was named Laurel Grove. Bradford lived there alone for several years, until President John Adams pardoned him for his role in the Pennsylvania Whiskey Rebellion in 1799. He then moved his wife Elizabeth and their 5 children to the plantation from Pennsylvania. Upon Bradford's death in 1808, his widow Elizabeth continued running the plantation until 1817, when she handed the management to Clark Woodruff, one of Bradford's former law students, who had married her daughter, Sarah Matilda. When Elizabeth Bradford died in 1831, Clark Woodruff and his surviving daughter Mary Octavia moved to Covington, Louisiana, and left a caretaker to manage the plantation. In 1834, Woodruff sold the plantation, the land, and its slaves to Ruffin Gray Sterling. Sterling and his wife, Mary Catherine Cobb, undertook an extensive remodeling of the house, nearly doubling the size of the former building, and filling the house with imported furniture from Europe. It was during this time that the name was changed to Myrtle after the crepe myrtles that grew in the vicinity. Sterling died in 1854 and left the plantation to his wife. The Myrtle survived the American Civil War, though robbed of its fine furnishings and expensive accessories. In 1865, Mary Cobb Sterling hired William Drew Winter to help manage the plantation as her lawyer and agent. Winter was married to Sterling's daughter, Sarah, and they went on to have 6 children, one of whom died from typhoid at the age of 3. In 1871, William Winter was killed on the porch of the house, possibly by a man named E.S. Weber. Sarah remained at the Myrtles with her mother and siblings until 1878, when she died. Mary Cobb Sterling died in 1880, and the plantation passed to her son Stephen. The plantation changed hands several times until 1891, when it was purchased by Harrison Milton Williams. In the early part of the 20th century, the land surrounding the house was divided among the heirs of Harrison Milton Williams, and in the 1950s, the house itself was sold to Marjorie Munson, who apparently noticed odd things happening around the Myrtles, resulting in numerous ghost stories. The plantation went through several more ownership changes in the 1970s before being bought by James and Frances Kermeen Myers, who ran the plantation house as a bed and breakfast. During this time, Frances Myers, writing as Frances Kermeen, wrote a book about the Myrtles Plantation, naming it as the most haunted house in America. The plantation house is rumored to be on top of an ancient Tunica Indian burial ground. Touted as one of America's most haunted homes, the plantation is supposedly the home of at least 12 ghosts. It is often reported that 10 murders occurred in the house, but historical records only indicate the murder of William Winter. After being shot, he staggered inside the house and died trying to climb the stairs. He died on the 17th step of the stairs. To the present day, visitors, as well as employees in the hotel, still hear his dying footsteps. In 2002, Unsolved Mysteries filmed a segment about the alleged hauntings at the plantation. According to host Robert Stack, the production crew experienced technical difficulties during the production of the segment. Other TV shows that have featured the Myrtles include a 2005 episode of Ghost Hunters, and the TV series Ghost Adventures. The Myrtles' most famous is Ghost is Chloe. As the legend goes, Clark Woodruff was known as an honest man. Yet, he had a fatal flaw, a physical interest in one of the slave girls on the plantation, Chloe. The young girl knew that refusing Woodruff's advances would not be wise. She'd immediately be punished by working long hours under the blistering sun, or worse. So, not having much choice in the matter, she began a physical relationship with Woodruff that lasted for a few years. Worrying that Woodruff's wife would find out and punish her, Chloe began eavesdropping on the family's conversations. One day, Woodruff caught her listening and ordered her ear cut off as a punishment. From then on, Chloe would wear a turban to cover her disfigured ear. Understandably, Chloe wanted revenge. One night, when the family was about to sit down to dinner and Woodruff was away, Chloe allegedly slipped a bit of poison that she extracted from an oleander plant into their food. Within days, Woodruff's wife and 2 of his children were dead. The other slaves, afraid that Woodruff would find out what Chloe had done when he returned, took the matter into their own hands. They grabbed Chloe and hung her from a nearby tree. When she finally died, they cut her body down and threw it into the river. According to the legend, Chloe's spirit lived on, haunting the plantation. However, this story would not become widespread until many decades later. In 1992, the owner of Myrtles supposedly caught her on film. That year, she took a photo of the property to help get an insurance policy for the house. The photo was quickly forgotten until 3 years later when a researcher asked to use it for a postcard. After blowing it up, he allegedly noticed the figure of what appeared to be a young girl. According to the owner, there was no one in that spot that day. Other ghosts reported to have been seen are those of Woodruff's 2 young girls in old-style clothing. It is said that visitors have caught glimpses of Woodruff's children appearing in the mirror near the room where they died. Still, others have reported seeing the spirit of a Native American woman in a gazebo on the property. Presumably, she is one of the people buried there long ago. Today, the Myrtles is still operated as a bed and breakfast, and paranormal activity is reported on a regular basis.